Voice of Africa TV and podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Very special guest with us that goes by the name Stonebwoy. You guys already know him. I don't think he needs an introduction, so we can get straight to the point.
Straight to the point.
Yes, sir. So in Ghana, were there any challenges you faced, getting your music to be heard in the industry? Initially starting.
Yeah, I mean, literally, there's definitely a need to have to, push to get heard. And then now it comes a time where, it becomes the other way around where people have to now, want to get you every time. So you have to stay on the job to make sure you keep providing them with the best of materials to consume. So there was actually a challenge, and there is actually a challenge, still. And I think it comes with it. It's just like you having a material, you produce a material, and then you have to market the material. So definitely there must be, that's a challenge, It's not, it doesn't just go viral. You have to put in the work. So there's definitely, but as an underground, it's more difficult because, you have to push like 3 times, more than what somebody who has already, broken through will do. So,
exactly.
I mean,
so like
challenging.
When you're, coming up as an underground artist, how important is it to keep your authenticity as an artist? Because a lot of times you get hit with these guys that you can, go Saka away and little all those things. How important is, stay authentic?
It's really important to stay authentic as an underground because that is what you have to offer. When we all do get inspired by predecessors or people who have set the pace.
Yeah.
But most importantly, there's a need to adapt to, what you are inspired by already so that you make a difference. Because if you're not different, then you can't have a seat at the big table.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to bring something on there, irrespective of the inspiration that you would have gathered from the people who are already seated.
Yeah.
So there's a need to stay unique. There's a need to bring something on board, or else I don't think it will be easy for you to get a place. That means that you'd have to wait to get a replacement.
That's true. So you were a very authentic guy and you have your own sound. I was watching one of your interviews a couple of days back, and you stated that you make 3 different genres of music. Why did you choose to make 3 different genres of music, or how did the idea come to part?
Yeah, that to get my uniqueness, I understand that I have my own kind of sound. Yes, everybody has their own tones, but some people sound like other people. When you're, I thought it was this, but it's that guy. So I put in the effort to make sure I don't sound like nobody. Although growing up and coming up in the industry, I've been inspired by a great people who have great sounds that I may have had to, tap into to find myself. You know what I mean? So now that I found myself, there was a need to also do something different, which is the combination of all these 3 musical genres, which is reggae, dance, and Afrobeat. So in every song that I do, you can feel the mixture of these 3, which is a signature that I've created for myself, because like I told you already, being unique is very important, when it comes to the game or the industry. You have to try to carve your own path so you can be accepted at the round table.
Yes, sir. So, as an artist, what do you hold as like absolute importance? For some people, it's the woman, they get this nice red bone girls or cars, and all that, What do you hold of value? I know you're a big family guy, but I want you to go into detail on that.
Thank you very much. As compared to the things you mentioned, I think that there are some things that are very temporary and are very self-centered. If assuming that my core priority is the glitz and the glamour, like other people, I mean, I can't judge anybody because I mean, once they're succeeding, that's the most important. But what I hold as core value is not anything very material. It's actually substantial, that have to be it's intangible, that you leave a mark, like your lifestyle leaves a mark, the things you say in your songs or the impact you have on people, is what I hold as a core value, because irrespective of everything, we're all driving towards success. So the cars, the houses, the things that will enhance you to live a good life or a better life,
Exactly.
fine, because you're working towards them. Everybody works for that, but what I can give as a musician is actually something that is beyond the material, which is, the way somebody can feel listening to my song will be dear to their hearts all living up until they die. You know what I mean? So those are the core values that I leave behind and I see as core values, not just only the material stuff, because if it was material stuff, people have that in abundance,
That's very true. So what are your goals with music then, and how far do you want to reach with it?
Thank you. My goal with music is to, especially in these times now that we are all realizing where the drum beat is sounding from. I have always been a big guy. I've been very big on Africa, Pan-Africanism, blackness, consciousness to say. So I think that that is my goal. My goal is to drive consciousness, as an African, use my talent and my creativity to, regardless of whatever I do or whatever I sing, to point a finger to the motherland Africa, in the right way, so that we can continue to represent for one another. In the end, these are tools that we have to use. Music is a tool that we have to use to actually sound the alarm and to actually remind people of who we are and grow and build us and communicate amongst one another.
Right.
Which is very, very important. It's not only for entertainment, it is a very, very, very massive tool, for education, as music as it is. So I think that now whatever we do as musicians, one thing I do is that no matter what, there's an iota of representation in there so that it doesn't go wayward, it doesn't go waste, because a lot of people feed and consume the things that we produce as music, and they feed on us and they live on us. So the best thing I want to leave behind and do with my music, like I've always done, is to have a representation of our culture, blackness, and give us some hope and raise our esteem. That's what I do with my music, inspire people to, in the end.
That's very good. And that's exactly why we wanted you on the Voice of Africa, because we know you hold those values, and those are the same values that we have as well. Well,
Absolutely.
with the scene heating up in Africa right now, are African artists commanding, equitable respect dollar-wise? Because we know people like you are one of the most top paid people, artists in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
How are other artists upcoming, commanding the same type of respect dollar-wise?
Okay. Say it again. Are other artists commanding same type of respect, right?
Yeah, dollar-wise. So are they commanding that if they go into a show, they're commanding that they get paid a certain amount of money, or how can they command that?
Thank you very much. I think to command a certain value is by work.
Okay.
Is by your work. Is by your work rate. When they rate your work, then it has that value that the people pay for to consume. So it's just like buying a Ferrari. A Ferrari is for is a fast car, is for the rich, is for, is a certain level. So when you're going to afford such cars, or you want to get such cars, you need to make sure that your money is very, very up, to afford it. So if it comes to artists like us as well, it must be our work rate and work rate literally, and the things that we and the value that we hold, so to be able to command such prices, So I think for an upcoming, it will only be at the level. They will only rate them at where they are to financially reciprocate, that to them. And for persons like myself, with the ratings that I have and the levels that we've been able to go to or to reach right now as we speak, same will be accorded to me as well. So I think your rate commands the value that you're paid. Yeah.
So for any upcoming artists out there, watching this interview, I hope you're being motivated about this, and you're learning that you have hard work pays. Hard work definitely pays.
Yes.
So the next question I would have is, given the current state of the world, how do you manage to stay inspired, write music?
The current state of the world is devastating, actually, because in our time, it's never happened before.
Yeah.
The last time was 100 years ago with some other flu, and this was the levels that they,
Right.
And I think that we are young, so we didn't witness such times, and this is new to us. In the end, it all boils down to consciousness because aside music, aside politics, aside whatever that we do on this earth, we have to realize that there are systems and there are powers that run the world literally,
Right.
for all sorts of reasons. Whilst we know that the ultimate is the creator, who is God above. To be in such a situation right now as the whole world is very sad that we can't do the most that we can as humans. Therefore, production, we're not being very productive as us. We're not being fully productive like we would have been, some few months ago, and all I can say is that how I go through it is because I'm conscious of the time, and because of my conscious mindset, I'm finding different ways to also progress or pull through these times. And as a musician, I think I'm indoors. I mean, I do a couple meetings and do the most that I can within the regulations of the virus. There are protocols that are being set. No masks here and there. Do this, do that. I do my best to obey all of those as well, and I do my best to also find ways around to continue to do my work, which is with the virtual interviews and putting music out there, recording a lot of songs, and also just doing the most that we can and waiting for the time where we can now step back on the road and continue to give them. Because this year, irrespective of what is happening, has been a very great year for me. I give thanks because I mean, all I can do is to give thanks because
Right.
once we're alive and we're still kicking it. From the start of the year, I've been announcing that I'm going to release an album. I think from last year, and the anticipation was so high when our album came in. It's the biggest album right now.
Huge.
Right now on the continent, trust me. And people are amazed how it's been able to pull through within this time. And we just dropped a remix of one of the songs of the album, Good Morning. We have Nominate on there. We have African Party on there. We have um, Understand, featuring Aleka Hailey. We have Critical, Zlatan. We have big songs on the album. We have Everlasting on the album. Yo, we have great songs on the album. We have Strength and Hope on the album. That is what has been taking me through right now. So, the planning and God's timing has worked for me. And so I'm just pulling through, pulling through nicely.
Right. So what platforms, you just talked about your album, what platforms for anyone listening can they, purchase or stream the album on?
Thank you. And like you can see, it's 20 million streams already, 20 million plus streams, and on Audio Mac only, which is the biggest from Ghana so far. Nothing yet. And I'm grateful for this record that I've continued to set. For a long time, and I've been blessed to be setting some records. What I mean? So they can grab it on all online platforms from everywhere, anywhere. Just name it. From Amazon to Spotify to Apple Music to Audio Mac to everywhere. Because we have to make use of the times right now. So just type Stonebwoy, Stonebwoy. What I mean? Stonebwoy, and you have it. On Twitter, you can follow me on Instagram, on Snapchat, on Trailer, on Audio Mac, so that you can get the latest. You can subscribe so that when it pops up, you have it. Subscribe to my email team or whatever, and you're going to join the mailing list. And anything that drops, you're going to have it exclusive. So that's how you can grab me. My handle is at Stonebwoy, Stonebwoyb. B for Burniton, B for Bin, B for Blazing, B for Beam Nation, So Stonebwoyb, straight word, Stonebwoyb, and we can connect.
For sure, and that will definitely be in the bottom of this video as well, guys.
Absolutely.
Another question I have is, you are obviously an artist, but apart from that, you're also a businessman. You are a CEO, of your own label, and you have your own business, clothing business. I saw you just released that a couple of days ago on Instagram, so I've been following that.
Yeah, one of those. Yeah,
Yes, sir. I need to
yeah,
have one of those too. But do you think,
yeah.
you know, being your own boss has inhibited your process of working, or doesn't just not affect you in any way?
I believe that being my own boss has not limited me in any capacity, to be able to outdo myself. It has rather put a lot of pressure on me because in the end, if I did work for somebody, there's a natural instinct of it belongs to the person. So you just go do your 9 to 5 and you go home. You
Exactly.
can't
You
wait
don't
for
care.
Fridays. But here, right now, you go all out. You don't even have breaks because you know what I mean. You're scared. You have to keep kicking. So being my own boss has never limited me in any capacity, but has rather put me on the edge. That you have to always be on the job. And I am always open to collaborating with working with other bosses. You feel me? Which is the way to go because collaboration is key in every industry.
Right.
So I have also been able to have a numerous collaborations with other people when it comes to my music, my clothing, and releases especially. So that's how I do. I just connect with people that are worthy and are fit, to execute the task when it comes to music. But in the end, I'm super proud to have come this far being a boss on my own.
Okay.
Being a boss on your own is a servant to yourself anyway. So
Yes, sir.
that's how I see it. You know.
So you just said, in order for you to work with someone, you have to make sure that they're worthy, or they have the right
hmm
qualities. How do you go into looking for the qualities in the person and ensuring that
Thank you.
I want to work with that person?
Like they say something like when you're gonna go for, even when you're gonna go for a work, they ask you what's your work experience.
Yeah.
you know, and that's one of the things you have to, because by the deeds, they shall be known, like the Bible said. So we have to watch what they've done before, how credible they are. A lot of people picking up their CVs and it's not what it is. And most often also, I give a lot of opportunity to people who can, not because they have been able to or they've been given the chance. And this is what you do, as a boss on your own. You can also afford to give the opportunity to people to try, knowing that they have the capacity, because they will definitely have proved themselves to a certain level, to be able to execute. So most importantly, I look at what they can do, what they have done. They can do what they have done, you know, and I work with them because we need to also give chance to people,
Exactly.
to also
They give us.
start, and somebody will be like, "Wow, I did it. This was my first time," and I'm very much open. It's not rigid. It's not strict like that. But I know that in the end, whoever I give an opportunity will prove the world wrong. That yes, they really deserve the opportunity to do that.
To
So
do that.
you
Okay.
know,
So having the social standing that you have, and being an influencer, are you ever worried that you might affect someone's livelihood negatively?
absolutely, because people look up to you. So the fear that you might affect somebody negatively, knowingly or unknowingly, keeps you on your toes. We have the natural mistakes, and we have, even if it was natural, sometimes it goes back and it hits people so bad. When you're sad, they're sad. When you're happy, they're happy. So definitely, there's a consequence, to face either ways. But realizing that you do not want to have anybody in a bad space or in a negative space, it keeps me on my toes. And even so, it puts me in the right place. It puts pressure on me to be a good person, to do the right things.
Right.
Just knowing that there are a lot of people that I'm responsible to.
Right.
You know,
Right.
yeah.
I really like that. So beyond Afrobeats, what styles and artists should the industry, in the Western world, be looking for in Africa?
Yeah, beyond Afrobeats, if it's music, I think that we should be looking out for a lot more styles, a lot more versatility, because Africans are versatile in every word of it. So music wise, we have a very wide range of voices, different tones, different energies, different styles, different melodies. So I think the world the world the world is up for a good treat, man. You can imagine music has never died out, from yesteryears when our great great forefathers started it, and we're still here continuing the legacy. So The world can look up to Africa any day for everything music and beyond, culture, arts, creativity, you know? Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of celebrities branch into different types of entertainment apart from doing music. What's next for you? Or have you ever thought of doing acting or, you know, radio,
Mm-hmm.
blogging, or anything like that?
Yeah, like once, and many a time. I mean, a few times I've been on radio, to do a thing or two.
Yeah,
You know, everybody says like, "Yo, you can actually get a job here
seriously,
on
you're very
radio,
open. Yeah,
and one time on TV as well." So I'm grateful to know that people actually see a lot more in me. Even acting and all of that, and I feel like these are part of me as well. So with every given opportunity when the need be, I'll definitely add it up to just expressing myself musically. I believe I can also express myself visually. I can also express myself as a commentator, as a broadcaster. So I'll just have to work on all those.
okay. So, how do you feel about, you know, certain artists in the Western world? I don't want to mention any names because that's not our purpose, but exploiting our music, you know, putting out songs that sound like Afrobeats and then not giving us the credit. I'm pretty sure you know exactly who I might maybe
Mm-hmm.
talking about. One of the most popular songs that came out in 2016 with
Mm-hmm.
a guy from Canada made a song and did not give the Nigerian his credit for, you know, the beat and stuff that he made.
Hmm. You know, in this world, it's rather unfortunate that Africa, as we are, we've never been given our credits as it is due.
Hmm.
Not only music wise,
That's true.
across all boards, because that then tells you how credit is really important. So if we don't have to wait for people to give us our credits, we have to take our credit, what I mean, and make sure that we have people crediting us. So that is another thing that teaches us how we have to understand that credit is important. And so we have to represent, and give credit to our works and ourselves as we move, even as Black people, no matter how we get inspired by any other thing outside of Blackness, we have to still leave our mark and say, yes, we did it.
Yeah.
Because this tells you how important credit is, you know, and that's what I can say about that. We always have to represent for us
Hmm.
in the least form. We don't have to eradicate it at all. It doesn't have to be 0-0. There have to be an iota of representation, which is a form of credit, that
Yeah.
we're going to always have. So that is what that teaches me. Because if they gave us the credit, then how then would they be able to get value
Right.
of what they've done?
Right.
Because you do everything and then you give credit to the other person, then that devalues you. But you should also know that they need the value, they want the value. So why should they credit you for that?
Right.
But it's a good thing to know that Africans can never be done without.
Right.
So even if we're given our credit or not, we know, and the world knows.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So that also teaches us, on the other hand, to always continue to credit ourselves in everything that we do.
You know, one thing I want to talk to you about is, you know, we know that there's racism and discrimination in the Western world, but I also feel as though is that there is a lot of discrimination in Africa as well. A
I
lot
was
of
gonna come to that.
yeah, a lot of us
Absolutely.
supporting ourselves, a lot of us discriminate ourselves, especially with the light skin, dark skin, colorism thing, and all that. We until we get rid of that mentality, I feel as though
Mm-hmm.
the Western world is always going to have control of us. So I want to find out your opinion on that whole type of matter and Africans discriminating ourselves.
Yeah. Well, what I can say is really simple. You are very right when it comes to that, because um, racism is not only locally. It's not only international, or it's not only against other people. Racism is against even ourselves.
Right.
It's everywhere. So in the end, we should know that the fight is against racism. The fight is not against humanity. The fight is not against black or white or blue or purple, because there are tons of white people who are activists against racism, or color racism, or all these things. You know what I mean? So in the end, we just have to try not to fight one another. We have to eradicate all the things that make us feel inferior against other people. I know that there's even classism and all these things going on in the world, but it's really sad to know to see other people think it is about humanity, because we all have the same blood running inside of us, which is what nullifies everything. So why don't we just see each other from the inside and not from the outside? But the truth is that it is not going to be the doing of our generation. This is not our fault, owing to the histories that we have been taught and told, and how we have been indoctrinated, to follow a certain route, so that the benefits thereof to people who gain off of, inciting humanity to fight against one another, because there's some people right there in the middle who benefit of these things, and, like the divide and rule. When we're divided, they have their power. But when we're united, the power spreads amongst all of us, and humanity becomes a better race.
Right.
So, with the understanding that I have, and the consciousness level, and me being here right now, I know that the fight is not against black, white, blue, purple, or whatever, but the fight is against humanity. And anybody who raises their heart or their mind, to hate one another as color or race, that tells you how inferior they are as a person, or as people. Because you find out that those that have high inferiority complex in their hearts, in their minds, are the ones who hate others the most, because they tend to blame it on them for their weakness. And that's how you find the disparity and the hatred and the colorism and all of that. So it will take some level of consciousness to understand that the fight is not against us. Everybody can be successful. Everybody can be a boss. Everybody can be better. Everybody can become somebody: blue, white, black, purple, Chinese, Indian, African. Because in the end, when you look inside of us, it's the same things that's running inside of us.
That's very true. That was very insightful from you. And I really hope that, anyone listening to this, the bloggers out there in Africa, the bloggers out there in Ghana especially, decide to, stop trying to get these media clicks of these, trying to put people against each other and all that. And let's unite as a person, unite as a people, and come together and, bring each other up. Because until we do that, you're always going to have the Western world on top.
Always going to be going around in circles.
Exactly.
Man. And be complaining.
Exactly, right. So until people like us come out and talk about these topics, and we urge those people to stop, the drama and all that, it's going to be an ongoing cycle. We're always going to blame them, but instead it's partly our fault too, Yeah, I really appreciate you for touching on that subject. So what is one message you would send to anyone who is an upcoming artist out there in Ghana and Africa, and through a tough time? A lot of these kids don't have a lot of money, didn't grow up wealth. So what was one message you would tell them to keep them encouraged?
What I can say to encourage them is that it doesn't take a day. Rome was not built in a day. Africa was not built in a day. And the fact that Instagram makes everything looks fast forward, it doesn't look like that. Social media makes everything look like you start a weekend, you have to be the biggest star in the next month. It takes time, it takes perseverance, it takes drive, it takes hustle. So as an upcoming artist or upcoming person who wants to be a successful person, take it easy. In your 25, you're 25, you're 30, and you think the world is ending on you because you've not been able to acquire certain things that Instagrammers are acquiring. And that alone puts so much pressure on you to feel like your life is over, and then it speeds you up to do a lot of things that, especially for musicians, you want to just go out there and do something crazy to get the clout and to get the blogs writing about you. Yeah, that works, but it's temporary. It's very, 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 very short-lived, because in the end, hard work is what you can build the foundation of success up upon. You can't make it look like it's success whilst it's not success. It has to really be. So all I can say is for upcomings is to take it easy, live within their means, use every little opportunity they can get to promote themselves and push themselves. The internet is out there. It's a big platform. It has everybody on it, so they can use that in the right way, because perception, they say, is reality. And assuming you paint a certain picture and real life, that is not what it is, you suffer for it. You suffer from it. Right. So hard work, move smart, think sharp, you're up there.
For sure. And the last question I have for you is, how can the Voice of Africa collaborate with you and your content and to other causes that you have as well?
Yeah, man. Giving me an opportunity right now to vibe is a way of supporting me. And I think besides this interview, we can collaborate on using your platforms and the brands that you represent to merge mine, so we can all continue to do the Africa work, because Africa needs that enlightenment. We have to be able to preach it amongst ourselves and highlight the continent of Africa in the best light that the world can know and understand. Like I said, perception is everything. That people think we live on trees and all of that, and we don't have a life, and black is this and this, that. We need to change that perception about the world of us. We need to change that perception. So in every little way that you and I can, God willing, we have the platform to reach out to masses. So that's the most we can do. And I think even more, we can continue to collaborate and use our voices as Africans to help one another as the voice of Africa.
Yes. Thank you. So thank you very much, Mr. Stonebwoy. Beam.
Big respect.
So yeah, we're going to have some people deliver some papers. We're printing newspapers as well in Ghana. That's what it is. And then you're on the front page, so they're going to deliver it. So keep in contact with
no problem.